Happy Delightful Sunday. My name is Leslie and I'm delightful. A DelightFull Sunday Service is now on YouTube because these are just long messages and long reflections that I feel like just need a bigger platform. And Instagram has their algorithm for Reels, which doesn't work for Delightful Sundays. So we're switching over to YouTube. Our Sunday service every Sunday is made for reflection. I feel like I get very excited when I have our Sunday service because it is my time to reflect, and I used to want to rush to do it in the morning also, but when I wake up, my Sundays are so important to me, like how what I drink in the morning, what I eat in the morning, how I stretch, how I wash my face, how I walk, how I get to the outside, especially creating content. As a person who wants to be in tune with the present moment and self, content creation a little bit can get a little bit hectic, especially with like my ADHD or whatever it is. It can get to this place of chaos. And so starting my morning off right and stepping into it is so important. And I want to encourage that and emanate that for your delightful Sundays, for your Sundays to be delightful, for them to look peaceful and to be joyful. But also during Sunday service, I do want to reflect on challenging topics for all of us that it's important for us to face and to mirror and to look into the mirror with, because without that reflection and without that honesty and truth and vulnerability and authenticity, we're going to get nowhere, honestly. But for today's Delightful Sunday service, I've been reflecting on advocacy and activism, because I used to be more active before. I used to be very active on earth care and food care. That was kind of like the way that I could enter this space of what's wrong with the world without just saying everything and going crazy. I was able to find specifics with my desire for a better world and my anger towards what was wrong with the world. And that narrowed down to taking care of the earth, our environment. And how we take care of the earth is a direct reflection of how we take care of ourselves. How we grow our food directly impacts our well-being because we eat that food. How we take care of our water sources, etc. So earth and food care I was big into. I started and founded a couple of composting initiatives and gardening initiatives in Harrisburg, where I'm from, and those were amazing, but we're working on making them more sustainable and more impactful. But my life changed in the past year just so much, and I took a step back from advocacy work. I've been really working on this ability for me to freeze, because advocacy work sometimes makes you pick one niche, one audience, one box. And I know this because I've co-founded a nonprofit, founded a company, a business, a for-profit, and co-founded a bunch of initiatives. And this need for a vision statement and a mission statement and a target audience, marketing and branding, it wants you to be a pretty box. That's how the capitalist system works. It wants you to fit into this pretty box, present your work, present your purpose, and deliver it to the world so that the world can understand it. And because we've been indoctrinated with Western education, institutionalized education, our brain works that way. We want it presented in a box. And I know this because that's the way my brain works sometimes also. I see something and I don't totally understand it. What's the point? Get to the point. Get to the period. Get to the exclamation mark. What's your question? Get to the thing. And I feel like if there's not this thing or this point, then we get desperate and we're like, well, it doesn't make sense, or it's too chaotic, or it's too circular. It needs to be linear. And I'm reading right now Fresh Banana Leaves by Dr. Jessica Hernandez, and she refers to this so much, which has brought this to the forefront for me, how our Western educated and brainwashed minds wants this linear pathway, this specific pathway to a specific solution, especially then when you're talking about different disciplines, right? Criminal justice focuses on this. Earth care is about earth care. If you talk about meditation and earth care, there has to be a really, really, really good way that you connect it, or else people aren't going to understand it. If you talk about criminality and food care, and then you start talking about immigration and earth care, and then we can talk about spirituality and food care, and it just, the connection isn't there all the time. And so why I work with entrepreneurs and artists to help them get the ideas from concept into paper is because I have had so many years of people telling me shit doesn't make sense. This needs to be connected with that. You're not explaining this. What do you mean spirituality and immigration? What do you mean immigration and food care? Like, all these different disciplines didn't really connect face front. And so taking this step back was so necessary for me, because I was confuzzled about how they do connect and what is my lane and how do I make my voice heard. And I think I'm still in that place of like making sure that like whatever initiative or project that I put out, that it is holistically integrated, interconnected, in a way that's authentic and true, but also can make sense to mainstream institutionalized brains and brain systems. And I'm still trying to figure that out, right? Because I think that there is this middle ground, maybe. I think like that's why, yeah, I guess, even my creation of the YouTube was because Instagram has its algorithm, and my DelightFull Sunday Service doesn't go with the algorithm. It's 10 minutes long, it's not snippets, it's not quick, it's not digestible, and social media is for quick flicking. You got to get someone's attention in like 1 second, in like the first 7 seconds or some shit. So I think that, having our platforms where we are digestible and attractive to Western institutionalized brain systems, aka maybe my Instagram Reels, versus a place, aka my YouTube channel, where I can fully dump authentic, holistic, integrative systems thinking and reflection. And yeah, that feels good. And me having this Sunday service for you is a space of reflection. And for me too, a space of reflection and meditation. And furthermore, then going into the podcast, then being able to have these conversations with people that are doing the work, that are in the middle of work, that are finding themselves. But I think that for me, what I've noticed, any advocacy work, any project, any for-profit business, any creation that comes out of me must connect to spirituality. It has to. And I'll say it again, and I won't stop saying it. Spirituality has nothing to do with religion. Religion does not come into any of my conversations unless someone is religious and I'm asking them about it. But religion, no. Religion does not, no. Spirituality, I might use the word God, 100%, but religion, no. And the reason for that is, the reason for the need for there to be spirituality connected with every conversation is because we do not want to become empty. Empty people do mindless things. Empty people create violence. Empty people do not communicate correctly, do not apologize or hold themselves accountable or responsible for their actions and how their actions have hurt others. Empty people advocate for the continuance of the capitalist institutionalized systems that are burning our earth and harming us and separating us deep down inside. And And my advocacy work was not connected to spirituality for so long because I didn't see the connection. I didn't know how to connect it. I didn't know how to talk about spirituality when you're talking about earth care, because people wanted to see something nice and pretty. So, okay, we're going to clean up the earth. We're going to pick up litter. But when we were picking up litter, we weren't praying to the earth, or we weren't giving back, or we weren't talking about how the trees can communicate. And we weren't talking about the mycelial network, and we weren't talking about soil health. So as I return to advocacy work, and I do believe that my biggest activism right now is speaking, is creating these spaces for authentic communication. And I'm so excited to have guests on the podcast. Maybe the DelightFull Sunday Service is the podcast, but I'm so excited for that because we need to have dialogue. We need to have dialogue, and we need to have people, and we need to spread this spiritual frequency of world peace, of a sustainable future, of healing, of abundance, of success, of interconnection, of remembrance, of regeneration. We need to have conversations like this because this is who we have access to, is our community, is our friends, our kids, our family, our nieces, our nephews, our coworkers. This is who is listening to us, our platform. This is what we have. So as I return to the advocacy space, I'm so glad to share with you guys my journey towards that. And, you know, I'm so proud of the work that I've done and the projects that I have founded and co-founded. But as I move into this new chapter of my life, I do want to make sure that every single project and creation that comes out of me has space for the conversations of the interconnectedness between humans and all of life, all of nature, all animals, the wind, the elements, you know, fire, food, spiritual connection to life itself. Because without that, it's empty. Without talking about meditation, it's empty. Without talking about how much water you drank this morning, or if you prayed, or if you cried last night, how many minutes did you journal yesterday? If we're not talking about those things, did you eat healthy? What are your conversations with your parents like? Are you healing from your trauma, your childhood trauma? If we're not having those conversations, it's empty. And I want to connect it all. I don't want to live in a niched world where we can't talk about how much I cried last night because I'm healing over some emotions in my project of earth care, in my composting project. It has to be holistic for me. And I'm excited to move forward into this new advocacy space of total connection, integration, unapologeticness. And shout out to my mentors that have, you know, shown me the way without even knowing. Shout out to all the people that I've learned from. That was a lot. I've been creating content all morning, and I'm hyped up right now. It feels so good that this is on YouTube and on Instagram, because I felt like I had to cut out, you know, me taking deep breaths because it didn't fit within the time frame of an Instagram reel. And that's important. It didn't fit in me eating an orange or eating blueberries, drinking my tea. Like, it didn't fit. And I hate that. I love raw, authentic conversation, and this YouTube video will probably be edited only for the time that I stood up and took a break in the middle. But besides that, this is raw. I feel like we don't get that enough, so I'm grateful. Thanks for being here. Make sure you breathe. Make sure you move your body today, whether it's yoga or dancing or walking. Make sure you move your body. Make sure you're eating good. Make sure you're happy and you're smiling, and make sure you forgive yourself and others. Happy DelightFull Sunday, y'all.